हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे अकाउंटिंग फॉर शेयर कैपिटल। तो इसमें क्या है कि who are shareholders? Shareholders are those who are the real owners of the company and its capital is contributed by a large number of persons called shareholders. But it is not possible for all of them to participate in the management of the company. So they elect a board of directors as their representative to manage the affairs of the company. And all the affairs of the company are governed by the provision of the Companies Act 2013. So a company means a company registered under the Companies Act 2013. As stated by the Chief Justice Marshall in 1819, a company is a person, artificial, invisible, intangible, and existing only in the eyes of law. Being a mere creation of law, it possesses only those properties which the charter of its creation confers upon it, either expressly or as incidental to its very existence. Now we will come to the point. Again, a company usually raises its capital in the form of shares called share capital and debentures or debt capital. Now, meaning and main features of the company. A developing industrial world needed a legal form of ownership that would provide limited liability for the owners and perpetual life for the business. Now, let us first understand what a company is. We already know that a company usually raises its capital in the form of shares called share capital and debentures or debt capital. Now, a company being an artificial person cannot generate its own capital as it is being created by the law that has an existence separate and apart from its owners. In other words, a company is an artificial person created by law with a distinctive name, a common seal, and perpetual succession of members. It can sue and be sued in its own name. So special features are the company's some special features are body corporate, separate legal entity, limited liability, perpetual succession, common seal, transferability of shares, and may sue or be sued. Now, what is body corporate? Body corporate means an organization such as a company or government that is considered to have its own legal rights and responsibilities. In India, the companies are formed and registered under companies law except in the case of banking and insurance companies for which a separate law is provided. Now, separate legal entity. This is a company has a separate legal entity which is distinct and separate from its members. It can hold and deal with any types of property, and it can enter into contracts and even open a bank account in its own name. Now, here, legal rights and separate legal entity means legal rights and obligations. He or she can sue the company and be sued by company. Now, limited liability. Number 3 point. The liability of its member is limited to the extent of the guarantee given by them in the event of the company being owned up. Number 4, perpetual succession. The death or insanity or insolvency of any members of the company in no way affects the existence of company. Members may come and go, but the company continues. This is the meaning of perpetual succession. Now, number 5, common seal. Any document which does not carry the common seal of the company is not binding on the company. Common seal acts as a official signatures, and every company is required to have its own seal. As company is an artificial person, so it cannot sign its name by itself. Now number 6 point, transferability of shares. It means the shares of public limited company are freely transferable. The permission of the company or the consent of any member of the company is not necessary for the transfers of shares, but the articles of the company can prescribe the manner in which the transfer of shares will be made. So this was transferability of shares. Number 7 point, may sue or be sued. This means a company being a legal person can enter into contracts and can enforce the contractual rights against others. If there is a breach of contract means an act of breaking the terms set out in contracts by the company. Now we will come kinds of companies. The kinds of companies is classified either on the basis of the liability of its members or on the basis of the number of members. On the basis of liability of its members, the companies can be classified into the following three categories, and they are companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, and unlimited companies. These are three kinds of companies. Now, companies limited by shares is that if a member had paid the full amount of the shares, there is no liability on his part whatsoever may be the debts of the company. He need not